Hey guys, so today I'll be personalizing my own Exodus 2. So since the last Omega long shot field test, you guys have been asking me how did I get the paint job on my long shot. So I was just thinking, what better way than to show you guys while building up my Exodus 2. First up, what we need is your colors. What we have here is our fade colors and our base color. Generally, the rule of thumb is to have fade colors that is a little bit more bright and your base color to be a little bit more dull so that the fade colors will actually pop out. You also need your top coat. So what I have here is a matte top coat spray. You need a masking, and what I'm using is a Scotch 3M masking. I find this masking actually really useful. Tape, paper to use as your skirts to block off excess paint from the rest of your paint job. A fine grit sandpaper, what I'm using here is a 1000 grit to help smoothen out whatever excess paint. Most importantly, your stencil. For the stencil, I'm using a fixed stencil. You can also vinyl print stickers or use nettings or whatever you can find around the household. And before you start any paint job, you always need to prep your shell. What I have here is 3 different grades of sandpaper. I have an 80, something a little bit more rough. I have something a little bit more smooth, that's like about 600, and something in between like a 320 to help remove all the scratches you made. Before any paint job, you want to have to do any shell modifications or shell cuttings first. What I have here is a 3D printed gem door stencil / rail razor that you can get off Jet's Thingiverse for free. So what you need to do is print it out, trace it with a marker, and then you're ready for the cut. So once you're done with cutting the shell, you need to remove any parts that you don't want to be painted. For example, your rails, or any buttons, buttstocks, or triggers. And now you're ready to prep the shell. Alright, so I have here a grit 80 sandpaper, and you're gonna want to have to sand it in a linear direction. So generally my blaster is long this way, and I'll just sand according to it. So you're going to want to sand until all the gloss is gone, and ending on with like maybe a 600 grit sandpaper. So after this step, you're going to have to wash your whole blaster to make sure there's no dust on it, and then just leave it to air dry. Alright guys, so when you're done with sanding the blaster and it's all dried and everything, you can actually start off with the paint process. So what we're going to do right now is to prime the blaster. Alright guys, so right here I have my makeshift spray booth. I've got my 2 Exodus shells spaced equally apart so that I've got a good area to work with. And then what I have here is a white base primer that I'll be using for the Exodus 2. Always have your mask on and shake the cans well before spraying. Another thing to note is to make sure you start spraying off the object and approach across with a consistent flow, only letting go the nozzle after you pass the object. Always do a light coat and leave it to dry for about 30 minutes each time. So about 3 to 4 coats of the primer and you've completely covered all the greys. You can move on to the next step to do the paint job. But before that, maybe you like to use a fine grit sandpaper. What I have here is a 1000 grit to just run through the blaster and then maybe remove any paint residue. Alright, so now we're going to do the base coat, focusing mainly on the handle, the buttstock area, the rails, as well as the priming area. Right, now that we're done with the base coat, we're going to need our masking tape. So this is my magic masking tape. I'll be masking up the areas that I want to remain as the base coat. So the good thing about this masking tape is it's able to contour along the lines that I want to mask out. Now that we're done with all the masking around the edges and blocking out all the parts that we want to keep as the base color, we're going to have to finish it up by doing some skirting. So get a few pieces of paper, you can cut it up into one and just tape over to complete the masking. Alright, so now that we're done with the masking, it's come to the fun part, which is the rainbow fade. So I have my setup over here. For the 2 shells, I have to put them perpendicularly so that when I do the fade, it lines up for both sides of the shell. And I did marking indicators of the colors so I can remind myself where the fade line should be. Alright, so let's start off with the first color, which is the green. What you're gonna do is you're gonna spray as per normal until you go past the halfway mark between the green and the blue. And so you're gonna switch to the fading, which is the blue. And this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna try to spray it at a 45-degree angle so that it gives a fade effect as you spray off. And you're gonna spray it all the way into the past the halfway mark between the blue and the purple. And so on and so forth with all the colors. At any time, if you overspray it, you're gonna have to go back and forth until you get it right. Alright, so after the rainbow fade, you're gonna do your stenciling. Grab your stencil and your base coat, and we can begin. So right now I only have a small stencil, so I'll make do, but it'd be great if you have a stencil that covers the whole entire shell. Make sure the stencil is pressed towards the shell, and give it a light spray coat. Okay. Right, now that the stenciling is done, just leave it to dry, and then we can remove the skirts and the masking tape. So after you remove the masking tape, all you need to do is just give it a couple of clear coats and you're done with spray painting. Alright guys, so we've come to the last part of the video. All you need to do right now is to put everything back together, and you also need an internal kit. What I'll be using is an alpha kit. So let's go!